Hello everyone, welcome to Poetry Day 5. You have made it a whole week! Yay! Today we're going to explore things that move or make noise. We're going to think about how to include rhythm, repetition, shapes, and sounds in our poems. We're going to hear, discuss, and write poems. We're going to think about what poems look like on the page. Explore how repetition functions in a poem. Explore sensory details. Informally explore rhythm in a poem. And we're going to quick write ideas for poems about things that move or make noise. So getting ready to write, we're going to explore elements of your poetry. So what I want you to do right now is probably pause the video and open up your poems file or take out your poems that you've written this week. You're going to review your poems that you've written this week. And I want you to look for three things. Pick out what's an interesting sensory detail you have written. Pick out something that has sounds. What sounds have you intentionally included in a poem? Okay. And what decisions have you made about what a poem looks like on the page? So take a moment, get your things together, and then move on in the video. So I'm going to show you an example of the things we're looking for as examples from my own work this week. From my poem December, sensory details, right? Sight, sound, touch, hearing. I'm looking for some of those things. So I feel like for touch, we could talk about a heavy coat for warmth outdoors. For sight, we can go with a choir of children singing. For sound, I think we could probably go for brass bells ringing. So those are some sensory details I have in my poem December. In my poem Hail, what are some intentional sounds I've included? Well, the onomatopoeia, pitter-patter, right? That's sounds. That's the sound that the hail makes, pitter-patter. So that's an intentional sound that I've included in my poem there. Okay, let's move on. So what have you got in yours? And if you're looking over and you're like, Mr. Voigt, I don't really have many intentional sounds in my work. Well, what I encourage you to do is consider writing some in your next writing session. Yeah, in the next poem you make, try including some intentional sounds. Okay, try including that sensory detail. And decisions about what a poem looks like. Well, since I was writing about my truck, I decided to make my poem look like a truck. So that's an intentional decision I made about my poem Truck. You need to look for what intentional decisions have you made about the way that your poetry looks like on the page. And why do you make it look that way? Does it help the reader understand the message of the poem? Today we're going to read and discuss Windshield Wiper by Eve Merriam. And as I read, I invite you to think about what the poem might be trying to do. There's some great vocabulary in this poem. Bumbershoot is a word. It's a funny word for umbrella. So everybody hold up their bumbershoots. And that way, there's no rain that's gonna hit your head. That's also a big music festival in Seattle. I'm sure some of you recognize Bumbershoot. Downpour is a heavy rain. And Macintosh, not the computer, but a Macintosh is another name for a raincoat. I learned something every day. I've never used that word Macintosh for a raincoat. So next time it rains, everybody grab their Macintosh. Okay? Don't leave it at home. You probably won't need a Macintosh with a bumbershoot. Just saying. Maybe one or the other. Or you'll have double protection. A bumbershoot and a Macintosh. You're definitely going to be dry. Okay, keep an eye out for those words. So here we go. Windshield Wiper by Eve Merriam. So as I read this out loud, I want you to listen for rhythm. Okay, I'm going to try and read it with a certain cadence and see if you can pick that out. Fog, smog, fog, smog. Tissue paper, tissue paper. Clear the blear, clear the smear. Fog more, splat, splat, downpour. Rubber scraper, overshoes, Macintosh. Bumbershoot, muddle on, slosh through, drying up, skylighter, nearly clear, clearing, veer, clear, here, clear. You hear the rhythm there? I could even sing it with a stricter cadence if I wanted to. What do you notice about this poem? How does the way the words are placed on the page help you understand what it's about? And what does it sound like? Oh, I can't go back while I'm recording this. Okay, well, what do I notice about the poem? It is written, right, with two vertical lines, and then it's kind of got this bottom to it. So I know that windshield wipers, there's two of them that like move symmetrically. And I also noticed in that poem that each side had about 3 stanzas, or you could think of the whole thing as 3 stanzas. And that's, I think, one way in which it helps me understand what it's about. And it sounds like, well, it's got nice rhythm to it. And when you're in the car and you have the windshield wipers set to a certain rate, right, the poem also reads at a certain rate. Okay? So that's what it sounds like. And repeating words help with that. Eve Merriam creates the rhythm of windshield wipers by using repetition. Some poems repeat words or phrases to create sound in poems. Repetition means repeating words or phrases. So you guys are going to write now. If you don't have your paper ready, go get some paper ready. And if you're going to open a Word document, go ahead and open your Word document. And today you're going to come up with ideas for poems about things that move or make noise. We just heard an example of a poem that's about something that moves and makes noise, such as a windshield wiper. So if you were going to write a poem about something that moves or makes noise, what might it be? Think about it. I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds. Tick, tock. What's it going to be? Okay, moving on. So you're going to make a list, okay? Things that move or noise list. Things that move or make noise list. take a moment to list all the things that could move or make noise that you could write a poem about. Okay, so you're just generating ideas right now. What's a list of things that you can come up with that move or make noise? Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Okay, you're going to make that list. I'm going to move on. But if you want to pause this while you're making the list, go ahead and pause. I'm going to move on and give you some example ideas. So you could write about a skateboard, a bicycle, bubbles in a fish tank, a Ferris wheel, a bouncing basketball, a trampoline. So you're going to come up with a list of things, and then you're going to choose one from your favorite. You can also write more than one poem every day. So if you want to write a couple, that would be excellent, and then choose your favorite. That would be a great idea. So today, during writing time, I encourage you to write poems about things that move or make noise. Remember to think about including 4 things, okay? We're focused on sensory details. Repetition, 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 repetition. Shapes. How is your poem going to look? Right? How's it going to look? And sounds. What do the things in your poem sound like? Right? Onomatopoeia is a great way to include sound in your poetry. Doing this will help the reader imagine what the poem is about. So give the reader a chance. Include all this great stuff. So here's an example of what I wrote today. My ideas sheet is on the left, and I just wrote down things that I definitely wanted to include in my ideas list. So I made a list for myself. Sensory details, right? Smell, taste, touch, feel, hear, sound, sight, look. I know I need to include repetition. I need to keep in mind what's going to be the shape and the form of my poem. And sounds, onomatopoeia. How am I going to include that to bring my poem to life? So, since I'm staying on the Skykomish River, I decided to write a poem called Skykomish River. It moves, right? It's a thing that moves. It also makes noise. And so this is my ideas. I just started letting my thoughts flow. Steely silver granite is carved by the icy water's blade. Rushing, gushing rapids flow from alpine lakes and snow. Emerald currents carry logs once magnificent. Forest giants surf. Summit to Salish Sea. Summit to Salish Sea. Summit to Salish Sea. Do I have sensory details? I hope I do. I have some sight, right? The steely silver granite. That's what the granite looks like. I have some sound. Rushing, gushing rapids. That's also rhyme. I have some repetition with summit to Salish Sea. The shape and the form, you can see that I have an example on the very bottom about the shape that I kind of planned for when I write my poem at the bottom there. And sound, I don't know if I really included sound. Maybe rushing, gushing, rapids. I think I need some sort of splash, crash, right? That's something that I didn't include that I might be able to include now that I'm reading this. So, it's good to review your notes, right? Before you finish writing, but I think I covered most of it. So let's look at the right, if you haven't already. And this is my poem, Skycomish River. Steely silver granite, carved by the icy water's blade. Rushing, gushing rapids flow from alpine lakes and snow. Emerald currents carry logs once magnificent. Forest giants surf, summit to Salish sea, summit to Salish sea, summit to Salish sea. I hope you enjoyed my poem. I can't wait to read what you guys come up with. So I hope you enjoy writing today. I know I did, and I can't wait to see your work. Have a great, great afternoon. Goodbye.